Hello, hello. All right, so what we're doing here is different from anything I've done, but also in the same vein of the thing I told you about that I've begun doing this past year. So this is going to be a little bit of like insight with a little bit of healing, and I'll do some more, it'll probably be like distance energy stuff outside of the card reading itself to go along with this. And then I will write up anything that happens outside of this if I do that, okay? Okay, so what we're going to look at here, or what we are looking at here, is obviously the card deck for the past life readings, okay, but I use it for a lot of different things. So we're going to start here and move our way over. So what happens is up here, we're looking at orange, which is indicating the chakra that we are focused on or focusing on, and that is the sacral chakra. So this is the area right below your belly button, your navel. And just in case you haven't done chakra work, but you probably, I imagine, have if you're working with crystals, and if not, this is going to be really crucial for you when working with your crystals, because you'll find that your crystals have certain frequencies or vibrations that align with certain chakras. So a lot of the times you can tell which crystals align based on the color that they're holding, because the color holds a certain frequency, which I'm sure you know. But it's not always the case. So also you can use that meditation I made you to see about which crystal wants to work within each chakra, because each chakra is a portal. You're going to want to do some work with this because it's very interesting, okay? So what we're getting here, and what I'm going to do is just relay to you the images and impressions that are coming through, just like I do with the other readings. And so what we're doing here already is we're going to be looking at feelings associated with the chakra that might be hindering you or causing a block or is an obstacle, as far as, you know, just your daily life. What you might be finding is a hindrance or a block, and we'll just see what comes through with that, okay? So here what came out were two emotions that are intertwined with the sacral chakra that you're dealing with, that will basically, it's something to look at and process within yourself. These are things that you're going to want to focus on, but we're going to get to it, okay? So then after, we're going to be going over here, and what we're looking at here is the throat chakra, which a lot of time has to do, most of the time has to do with expression, a certain expression that you, again, might be holding yourself back doing, or a certain way that you express yourself, or a certain way you want to express yourself that you cannot. And so what comes through here was actually a specific event that wants to be talked about in your life. They want to bring through in your life in order to, it feels like, relay to the throat chakra blockage or expression issue, that it feels like, if anything, caused it or was the origin of it or added to it, and then how to move past that. Okay, and then we have an overall lesson here, which just popped out of the deck, so you know you gotta pay attention to those. Sorry. All right, so let's begin. So over here, we're going to be starting with the sacral chakra, and this card here is the confidence card. So this is an issue with confidence that we're looking at, and this is going to revolve around a certain area of your life where you feel like you are lacking confidence. So as we're talking about confidence, what is coming through is for you to sit and in your meditation to focus on your sacral chakra. And there's this idea of, as you are sitting, I want to say in meditation, focusing on the sacral chakra, imagine your chakra glowing this beautiful bright orange light. First, you want to look at it and see how it is without you having any impact on it. View it. This is a kind of remote viewing sensation where you're in meditation and you want to draw your inner senses down in order to view this chakra in whatever way you are best at inner sight, so to speak. So it doesn't even mean, like, if you're a visualizer, great. But you can also be getting information in different ways. So just be open as you view the chakra as to what it feels like. You want to feel the energy prior to what you're about to do. And as you sit there, take in the energy, see how it feels. All right. So then while you're in meditation, you're going to want to imagine that chakra illuminating a high orange light. By that, I mean not just orange. We want to go and kick it up to neon orange. Okay. This is a higher vibration orange, higher on the frequency. And you want to allow that chakra to illuminate, and then watch and see it start to spin in whatever way feels right to you. And the chakra itself is a portal. So what you're going to want to do in the meditation as you're sitting there is when you breathe in through your nose, nice and steady and full, and out through your mouth, right? And what you want to start breathing is the intention. While you breathe, you're holding the intention of breathing in what it would feel like to breathe in confidence, okay? And you want to breathe in a way where it feels like you are breathing in through the chakra. So yeah, you're breathing in through your nose and mouth and all that good stuff up here, okay? But there is a way that you can create the sensation of when you're breathing in confidence, you are breathing the confidence directly into that chakra. Almost like you are sending confidence through your chakra portal, the orange portal that you are visualizing, sending confidence in to fill it up. And as it begins to fill up, allow yourself to feel the sensation of that portal becoming full and almost brimming with the energy of confidence that you are breathing into it. So as I'm saying this, what's going to happen is, what I feel like they're telling me to do is on the away from the reading, what I was just talking about before, where I wanted to do stuff away from the reading, I will be doing this on my end through distance energy healing, and your job is to do it on your end. And combined, that is going to cause a shift in your vibration. So your job is to do this for a week straight if you can. But do this as much as you can, at least once a day for at least a week, and see how you feel. And what you're doing is, you don't want to force anything. You just want to feel out how your energy feels before you begin doing this practice. And then a week later or 2 weeks later, you're going to want to journal as you go along too. You're going to want to see how things shift in the sense of recognizing when you're doing your daily stuff, whatever you do, out in the world, doing your thing, going to a job, interacting with people, thinking certain thoughts, whatever it may be. See how it feels, how your energy feels in regards to this newfound confident energy being portaled essentially into your sacral chakra. See how you feel a week later, 2 weeks later, and do comparison, which is not always easy because you have to remember what it felt like before. But that's why before you want to kind of journal down how you feel in regards to your confidence level, so to speak. And even like particularly confidence level in regards to interacting with, we'll say, people, strangers versus colleagues versus friends versus family, whatever, you know, close people, medium people, people you don't know. And then work, how you feel there. Maybe a hobby, how you feel there. Maybe spirituality, how you feel there. So you start off with that so you can, you know, refer back to it. And then I would just keep documenting and see how you feel as you continue this practice, okay? So when I do it off to the side, that's going to be the initial boost, okay? Alright, so there's that confidence. Now, also make connections where you can as I'm speaking and as I'm talking about this. So if I were to say, oh, sacral chakra and your confidence and things that you want to grow in confidence of, so to speak, what comes to mind? That's something to note. That is your higher self telling you what you have to note in regards to this practice that is important at this time. Because this can change as time goes on. Because if you fill up with confidence in a certain area that shifts you up and levels you up, then that confidence might need to be, like tunneled a different way to another area of your life, you know? So it's going to be a continuous shift, and it's going to be very helpful. Now, what also came through was this feeling of, and this card here is like depression, loneliness, kind of like a depression kind of thing. So what it feels like they're coming through with is the idea of isolation in the sense of depression, where you might feel like you are, in a sense, kind of one of a kind, like maybe even hard to connect with certain people. So what comes to mind right now when I say hard to connect with certain people? It's almost like there's a certain kind of people that you might find that there is an isolation from, or something you keep isolated from, something you, it's almost like a feeling of like not being part of the clique. You know what I mean? Like, in school when there's like certain type of group of people and they just don't let you in. That kind of thing. That's what I feel is the feeling of coming up right here, and I feel like it's also linked to the confidence, which may actually indicate an instance. It can even be in your childhood where this may have happened to you. So if an instance comes to mind, or if you think of one soon or later on where you felt excluded, there's a message in that coming through that might explain a few things, but more than that, it's not really about that. It's actually more about seeing those instances in your life as a blessing. If ever you felt excluded in any way, there's something about that is a blessing, not only in the lessons learned from that, because in exclusion we learn to love ourselves, we learn to be our own companions, we learn to rely on ourselves, to trust ourselves, to be our best friends. You know, when we're excluded from other people, we turn to ourselves. So these are actually reasons for celebration, because every time you are excluded or you feel a sense of isolation, there is a natural inclination to go inside of yourself. And some people can go inside and become depressed and not want to do any inner work and just sit there miserable. And other people choose to go inside and find the richness of the internal universe that's inside of them. And I feel like that is the message coming through for you, is to recognize when there are points of exclusion, when you feel excluded, you feel isolated, you feel like one of a kind, you feel like no one understands you, that kind of thing, if that ever comes up, that those are the best times for you to do such enriching growth within you, and that will open you up and expand your consciousness in big ways. So we're also looking at the idea of perceiving certain events in your life or instances in your life as blessings, rather than the very human reality of, ouch, that hurts my feelings. If that makes sense. So you're human, you're going to feel, ouch, that hurts my feelings, but take those moments and recognize now, from now on, if this ever occurs, or whatever it may be, or even looking back now, you can be like, oh, this is one of those moments. Time to go within. What's going to be revealed to me now? Because that, in a sense, if you can imagine those as the universe telling you, hey, I know this looks like isolation and exclusion, and I know as a human it can feel kind of icky, but this is me knocking you on the head to go inside, do some meditation, because we've got some information to tell you. You could say your higher self, your inner self, your deepest soul part, whatever it is, has information to reveal to you on a significant spiritual level, so that it's almost like you're not paying attention to your inner world at a certain time when you should, or as much as you should. So you will be given these instances that on a human level look like exclusion or isolation, but they're just directions. Like, they're just, what's it called when there are like cones in the road directing you a certain way. That's what these are. They're a redirection to your inner work that needs to get done at that time. That's all this is. So in a sense, I'm saying, oh, that's all this is, but it's actually a bigger thing, again, because it is looking at things a whole new way. Where before, when something would cause pain, now can cause an energy of discovery and intrigue. Like, oh, okay, here's that thing happening again. Let's go in and go into the treasure hunt of my inner world and see what is trying to be revealed to me now. It's really cool how that works. And this also, again, expands your consciousness and expands your mind, because now you're perceiving certain events a completely different way. This is a higher mind practice, bigger picture practice. Okay, so that, keep making connections with that, and we're going to go ahead and move over here. So over here, what we're looking at is the throat chakra, right? Okay, so we're looking at the throat chakra, which is expression, like I mentioned before. So what we want to look at here is this card here. Now, what's really interesting is, like, again, guided by what to lay down. So over here, we're looking at emotions that are associated with the sacral. And then here was an event. I know we talked about one event over here, potentially, but this was specifically an event. And this is the war card, generally. And it's like they've been conquered, or someone's coming, or, you know, do we welcome them, or do we fear them? Essentially, this is an interesting card because it has to do with love versus fear in a nutshell. So what it feels like is So this is also the idea that it is a event that happened in your life. Okay, so we're looking at an event that could affect your expression. So first of all, to be aware of your expression, where you are like lacking in the confidence of the expression, or where you feel most hindered in your expression. It doesn't necessarily have to be vocal. In fact, I mean, some people have problems with physical expression as well. It could be, you know, hugging, loving, touching, whatever it may be. So just tune in and feel out where there may be a hindrance in your expression in whatever way. And whatever's coming to mind, trust that that is what we're talking about here. Okay, so the event that we're talking about here, also Conquer, They Have Come, Welcome card. This is also a card of duality. So we're looking at love and fear, and we're looking at a time of confusion and being torn, and this feels like a splitting of something in the sense where you are used to acting one way, and someone in this circumstance, and it feels romantic, but it doesn't necessarily mean it is. It could just mean that there's good chemistry between you and the person that in this situation in which we are talking about, but it feels like a split of you are used to doing something one way and a bit of a stubbornness about that, because of the idea. What it feels like is like, oh, this is how it's been and it has worked out for me thus far, so I'm going to continue with this, plus the idea of just not being as flexible as, let's say, you might be today or now. Basically, it almost feels like there is a noticeable shift from your youth to who you are today, that you might know exactly what I'm talking about, where you can kind of pinpoint the time where it was like, oh, click, unlock, okay, learning stuff and changing. But this feels like it's before the change, and it feels like it has to do with, again, okay, so feeling like there's one way to do things, and then almost like feeling torn, like wanting to please someone, so wanting to please someone but not being able to because of the inability or inflexibility to change. And again, it feels like a relationship, or it could be a roommate issue or whatever it may be, but it feels like this was someone that you have been close with, and it feels like, again, there's like a stubbornness, but the stubbornness also has to do because there's something about the history of you and this person where the history is so interwoven with patterns made for such a long period of time that to break the pattern could be seen almost like, I want to say, a weakness, or almost like not giving the other person the benefit of an aha moment, or wanting to withhold the aha moment, or even the idea that you're even worried about the aha moment, or giving it to them, or giving in, or looking weak, or something like that. And this feels like it was a long time ago. And it feels like it might not even come to mind anymore, or you might not even be aware that it affected you in a certain way. But there was something about it where it feels like there was a deep understanding or a deep knowing that in this instance you could have done something, I want to say, more evolved or expansive, but you didn't. And it's not that it was wrong, it's just that that's where you were in your development at the time. So really, essentially, what this feels like is that you need to forgive yourself at this time for being stubborn, or for being inflexible, or for making a certain decision that you today may have made differently. And what I feel like they want you to do is an exercise in forgiveness in this way, where you go into meditation and you bring up and visualize that version of yourself at that age with that mindset, and you visualize that they're there with you in a place in your visualization, and that you talk with them, and that you forgive them, and that you love them, you send them love, you can hug, you can embrace them in whatever way. Because if this is pertaining to any physical expression issue, like any issue with expressing yourself physically, so to speak, let's say expressing love, so to speak. Let's say in this visualization you embrace them because of that, if that makes sense. So it's almost like you want to infuse the energy of your now loving being into the aspect that you are visualizing of yourself as a younger aspect who was at this time period of this circumstance that we are talking about. If nothing comes to mind for this circumstance, you need to just meditate on it and process and allow the circumstance to come to mind, because it's there. So just just process, sit, do this visualization, and if this visualization exercise feels good to you, there's this idea of you going back and revisiting other aspects of yourself throughout your time, throughout your history, your life in this way, and giving them what they needed at the time, as you are now, giving them what they need. And you can ask them in the visualization, you can ask your other aspects, what do you need now? You know what I mean? You can talk with them. You can really get a lot of insight from your past selves and give them what they need. And here's the thing, because time is an illusion, what you're doing is you're meeting them in a place beyond space and time when you go into meditation and go into trance, because you're tuning into a certain brainwave that is taking you out of the here and now, so to speak, especially the deeper you go in trance. So you ideally want to reach a theta brainwave if you can, but even in an alpha brainwave, which is a light meditative state, so much healing can be done. So your job is also to trust this process as it's going on. And you need to understand that beyond time and space, you're able to provide everything that these aspects of you need or want in that place with a thought, if that makes sense. So, and as you do that, because, time is an illusion, doesn't exist, what you're doing is when you are healing those past aspects of yourself and giving them what you want, you're also filling up your now being with that energy. You are altering things, This great quote I found just like the other day that I just love is, pick a flower on earth and move the farthest star. I think by Paul Dirac or something. And I mean, it's really profound, and that's what this is. It's the butterfly effect. And you're doing it interdimensionally when you hit a trance brainwave in a visualization and alter that timeline. It's phenomenal. And I know you understand these concepts because we've spoken. So try this out. Now, what's really interesting is they're giving me formulas for moving you through this expression. I want to say this expression exercise, so to speak, and then we want to move over here. And this was laid on how to approach it best. And this card here is the trust card, and I think I already mentioned have trust in it. It's vital and important that you do trust the experience, because it's very easy to let our egos come in after these experiences, wherein the experience itself feels so connected and aligned and in tune, and then you come out of it and you're back to this 3D world reality, or there's people talking and you have to keep up with things, and it's just a different kind of mindset. You have to maintain trust that those instances happen. Now, maintaining trust, it feels like they want to say it's not about recalling it over and over to make sure that it's been done, like recalling the visualization experience, so to speak, but just trusting that you went through what you went through, that it happened, and then just no expectations, just allow. And again, you just want to journal, and you want to just kind of touch base with yourself as you do the exercises here that we talked about, and these you just want to keep checking in with yourself on, we want to say, expression and confidence. Now, what they also want to do is round that out, and again, I just need to touch base, remember, trust. Okay, they want to round this back over here before we hit the overall lesson here, or the overall thing here. Something about the sacral chakra is also heavily connected to sexuality as well, and so we're looking at confidence, and then a bit of a depression, a lower vibration, whatever, when it comes to that circumstance. So this is also a message of you to look into that area of your life where it pertains to where your confidence level is in regards to that, and what is holding you back, and are you holding yourself back, and that can also relate to expression as well, because human beings are sexual beings, and we're heavily repressed in that way. And when we're repressed in that way, that also represses our expression, because sexuality is an expression as well. So this is for you to play with the notion and idea of where there is any blocks there, or where you are held back there, or where you don't feel confident there, if that makes sense. And there are visualizations for that too. So what I'm going to be doing on the outside is sending the orange light here and the blue light here, and you can do the blue light here as well, even though this is more like a basic thing to do is to do the blue light at the throat chakra, try to do neon blue, but more than anything, the visualization exercise for the throat chakra didn't really have to do with going and portaling into the throat like this. It had to do more with the visualization of the past aspect of yourself to forgive, to love, to give it what it needs, okay? And trust the experience. So now with that combined, we got all this done. Keep making connections here and here. Now we come just to the conclusive part of this is simplicity. The simplicity card, and it ties heavily in with trust, because these practices can be as complex as we make them, because everything is based on our belief system. So here it feels like just a nudge for you to consider that and to know that you really are in control of the pace at which you accelerate and evolve. And it can be an overnight thing. It could be a week, a month, year, many years. Don't allow yourself to compare to other people who may be taking a very long time when you don't have to at all. You have to understand in some respect that you do make your own rules, especially when it comes to your own timelines of accomplishing things. You don't need to punish yourself for a certain amount of time in order to achieve a reward. That's a belief system. So make sure you're tapping into the belief systems that are also holding you back, because those will also hold you back in certain ways. Belief systems in regards to how you are allowed to express yourself, or what seems a right way to express yourself according to society and others around you and what others expect of you. Those are belief systems. Same with the belief systems of how you are to express yourself, whether it is with sexuality or how you are to express yourself with your confidence in this life. Or also the idea of if it is, I guess I want to say what feels like they want to say is the appropriateness of allowing yourself to feel all the highs and lows in order to fully, I want to say, encompass the wholeness of who you are into your knowingness. Okay, so to break that down, it's more about allow yourself to experience your highs and lows. You don't have to maintain positivity. In fact, when you are at a low, that is a wonderful time to actually get to know, I guess, what they would call the shadow self. And it doesn't mean it's bad, it just means it feels icky, but it is a part of your being, and it's an aspect that the better and more comfortable you feel with, the easier you're going to be able to work through any blocks you might have or anything that comes your way, rather than not being in touch with that part of you or not wanting to look at it because it feels icky, and then when it comes up, it's just so much harder to navigate. So just keep that in mind as well. But really the simplicity card, again, just comes in with the message of this can be as simple as you make it. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't overcomplicate it through comparison. And also check in with your belief systems to see which ones would cause you to be overcomplicating either the pace at which you move forward or the depth at which you trust these experiences. Okay? Okay, so keep making connections where you can. I'm going to be doing the healing later on and outside of this reading, this video. And thanks for letting me have some fun with this and experiment with these modalities. I really appreciate it. I'm having lots of fun, and I'm glad we're in touch. I'm glad we're connecting this way, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, thanks for letting me read you. Have a great day.